What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another NBA Rundown brought to you courtesy of Run Pure Sports and Run Pure Bets. NBA associations in full effect right now. I don't know what's more exciting, the injury report or the actual games. Tyler, how we doing today?
We're good. I mean, with that last thing you said, I'm taking the injury report every time. I mean,
Dude,
looking at this list right
it's
now, I mean,
wild. Yeah,
looks like a book.
I know. I couldn't believe how much. I mean, it's more red and green than intersection here. But let's jump right into the games. The first one we got. Hey, we got the NBA Finals rematch. Unfortunately, it's not going to look anywhere near to what it looked like when they played in the finals last year. But the Los Angeles Lakers are traveling to Miami to take on the Heat. What's the line right now? I know the
I
Heat
see
took money.
9.
Is it back to 9?
Yep.
Okay, so it was 9. It dropped down to 8, and it looks like the buyback commenced. So yeah, it is currently 9, and I'm seeing minus 113 on Bookmaker, which means that Miami's taking more money. There might even be a 9.5 available soon. The 204 has dropped down to 203. I'll tell you what, I agree with that move. I don't see these two teams breaking 200 points. But break it down for me, Tyler. What do you think? The total's 203, and Miami's laying 9.
I mean, laying 9's a big number. I hate laying that much, but I think this is a spot where you can take Miami and be comfortable with it
Mm-hmm.
because I think they could just come out and smash them. I mean,
Yeah.
just like you said, finals rematch. This is really their first time getting their hands back on them, and they're
They
getting
played
their
once earlier in the year. Miami won in Los Angeles, and the teams were pretty close to full strength then. I
yep.
know that
And
both stars were on the
now they
Lakers.
get to beat up on them when they're weak. So
Yeah.
I think this is a spot where they just come out and dominate them. And I'm opposite on you on the total because I think you see Miami hang 110 plus here, and at
Yeah,
that
and
point, all
yeah,
you
if
need
they
is the
do.
Lakers to break 100.
Yeah. I mean, let's look at the Lakers. They put 110 up in that win over Toronto. Don't even talk to me about that game in Toronto. I mean, what a no-show from the Raptors. What is, that team just has completely fallen off. They put up 86 in the loss to the Clippers. They put up 115 against the worst defense in the league. Right, 115 seems like a lot, but the Kings usually give up like 122, 123. Milwaukee held them to 97. They got 96 against Orlando, 100 against Cleveland, 101 against Philly. So you know, the two highest outputs are 115 and 110. There would be my worries there on the other side. Miami put up 112 against Memphis. I can't believe they lost to Memphis. Just wild stuff going on in the association. 115 against the win against Cleveland, 116 against Golden State, 92 against Indiana, 98 against New York. So, yeah, I can see why you think that Miami is going to go over here. I think this pace is going to be dreadfully slow as well. I probably agree with you on the side. I think I like the under a little more. Do you have props for this game? Are the props listed?
There's a few. There's Jimmy Butler's points is at 20 and a half.
Uh huh.
And I mean, a couple of the guys in the Discord asked about it
Yeah, I
earlier,
was
and
reading that.
HTP touched on it.
Uh
His
huh.
points are just so hit or miss because you don't know which Jimmy's going to show up, the one that's going to want to facilitate more, or the one that's going to want to put the ball in the bucket.
Well, I think you made a great point. The facilitation comes more when the Heat have the big lead, right?
Yeah.
And so here's the deal: if we're capping this game, that we expect number one not to be many points scored, and number two the Heat to cover, the blowout's in full effect, right? And that's the case. The facilitation's in effect, and I would be worried about him going over the over 20. Is there any other ones you looked at?
Not in that game. A couple other ones we'll touch in some games.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to be seeing these numbers with a total of 203. Doesn't that seem right for us to do some player prop unders here? So maybe we'll circle back to that if they keep coming out during the show. A lot of times these books are really hesitant to put these lines up, but I think that we know this lineup's actually pretty secure, right?
Yeah, I mean, looking at the injury report, I don't see many starters on here.
Yeah, I see Hero is probable. I expect him to play, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, the only guy it shows out on the Miami side is KZ Akpala. So, I mean, they're
Wait
at
a
full strength.
second. When did Ben McLemore end up on the Lakers?
A couple days ago when he got bought out.
They bought him out.
Yeah, Keem Birch got bought out by Orlando today,
Yeah,
and
I
they've
saw Ken Burch get bought out by Orlando. Wow. Do you think he helps them at all? Like, what's going on
he
with him?
finally gives them a guy that can make a wide open three.
Yeah, I hate to say it, but that actually helps them, I think. especially if they gave up nothing for him.
Yep.
Okay, well, see, news to me. I missed some of the buyout news. I got to be sharper with my stuff. Guys, if you didn't know, Ben McLemore, now a Los Angeles Laker. Tyler and I both like the Heat here. We're split on the total. Let's jump to the next game. The Chicago Bulls, 21 and 28, 27-21 against the spread. Head down to Tampa to take on the aforementioned Toronto Raptors, who put up an absolute stinker in their last game. Um, Okay, the final score was 110 to 101. The game was not that close. Okay, the Lakers dominated this team. To be fair, they shot like 75% from three in the first quarter or something, so they got off to a huge lead. But boy, that was just another no-show from Toronto. And we talk about the injury report, right? I mean, this one is ridiculous. So I got Lauri Markkanen is probable, Dotson and Makoka out for sure. Kobe White is probable. Daniel Tice is in. Garrett Temple's out. Levine's probable. McCaw's out. Lowry's out. Van Fleet's out. Bembry's out. Jalen Harris is out. Rodney Hood's out. I don't even know who Freddie Gillespie is. And Paul Watson is out. Tyler, what are we doing with this game? I'll tell you what, I'm pretty disappointed in the Toronto Raptors. I thought that Malachi Flynn would be okay taking in for the Van Fleet Lowry role. That obviously wasn't the case, as I was completely embarrassed having the Raptors as one of my picks earlier this week. What do you think? Am I overreacting just because I'm a jilted gambler here? What do you
I
think of
mean,
this game?
I don't think so. I mean, this Toronto team is just in shambles right now. I mean,
Yeah.
you're missing your two starting guards. It's really tough to pick up with your bench guys there.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I love Chicago right here in this spot. I mean, they should have the big advantage on the inside with Vucevic here. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, Chris Boucher isn't stopping him inside. And we've seen Chicago stumble since they've made that trade. I think this is the perfect game for them to get right and get things together right before making that last playoff push.
I don't know if you have this up, and I wanted to look, but I told you I had to run over to my mom's real quick and help get their cat out of the attic. But Vukovic, doesn't he traditionally do well against Toronto?
Yep.
Yeah, that was another reason I was leaning towards Chicago here. So are you not worried about laying the four on the road, huh?
No, I think Chicago could win right here in a blowout.
I don't know what to do with this Toronto team, man. I mean, they just every time I want to believe in them, they just take two step backwards. Obviously, out of everyone with the COVID situations, they're in the toughest situation. I mean, they're at home, but it's in Tampa, not Toronto, where so most of them have this weird living situation. Did they bring their families down there for just one season? Did they stay up in Toronto? So there's a lot going on with this team, and obviously the injuries and the suspensions do not help. So I guess I agree with you here. Chicago -4. The total's 217. What do you think of the total?
I lean over. I think these two teams,
Okay.
even with the guys injured, I think they'll still get up and down the floor.
Yeah, I mean Chicago's an over team to me. They can score and they don't defend. Works for me. I like the over there. Did you look at player props for this game, and who would you be targeting?
Yep, we're going to target that guy you just talked about who destroys Toronto, Vucevic.
Yeah, I mean, okay. So I wasn't just like falsely remembering, right? That's like a great matchup for him, right?
But we're not going to target his points. We're going right to his rebounds.
I
They
love
set
it.
it at 11 and a half.
Okay.
You look at his last three games. His last game, he had 16. The game before that, he had 13. The game before that, he had 8. That game,
Okay.
he had 8. He was matched up with Rudy Gobert, who we all know could be a black hole under the hoop. Now,
Yeah.
you look back at his last two games against Toronto this year, even though he was on the Magic, he grabbed 18 boards and 14 boards. The Magic are giving up 17 boards to centers over the last 30 days. I'll take that 11 and a half.
I love that play. I love that play. And so, it feels good when something that you remember is actually confirmed by the numbers. I just remember Vukovic going crazy against Toronto here. Um, Landa's going to keep handing these overs when the injuries are hit too. I love Atlanta, and that's a great reason to just be tuned in to the NBA Hardwood Live. And then Landa, I know you remember, so you just like me are watching the final countdown. Hey, I'm watching, guys. I might not be in the Discord every day, but I'm usually watching and grabbing those late injury news. And like a lot of times, we're talking about games. We talked about it last night or yesterday on the show, right? We said, hey, if the Pacers are missing all these people, we're going the other way. We're fading the Pacers. It was one of the easiest plays of the day. But, I had to be tuned into Hardwood Live and the final countdown to get that news before I made that bet and felt comfortable about it. So I love that play, Tyler. I think that's the best way to approach both these games that we've just mentioned. I think the only thing that could really get us in trouble there is foul trouble. And I don't think Toronto can get him in foul trouble. I just with those guards being out, they're not going to get to the
Yeah,
rim.
there's. I don't see. No one's
Yeah.
going to be getting to the rack really, other than OG Anunoby and Pascal.
Yeah, I love that play. I think you really found a winner there. Let's talk about the Cleveland Cavaliers, who are 18 and 32, 20 and 30 against the spread, heading down to OKC to take on the Thunder. They were our ATS darlings. The world's caught on. They haven't been covering lately. Now Cleveland's laying 3.5 on the road. Um, let's see what we got for recent results here. Cleveland just beat San Antonio by 24. What was going on with that game?
Yeah, that was a weird
Unbelievable.
one.
Yeah, that was a weird one. And they were 8-point dogs in that
Well,
game.
Murray got announced out late for the Spurs. That
Okay,
was
but
one. That was
DeJounte
another.
Murray doesn't mean you should lose to
It doesn't
the
mean it, but when you lose your starting point guard, it kind of throws things into a little
the
bit of a
Cavaliers
whack.
didn't have Jared Allen or Larry Nance, and they
Yeah,
still won. I mean, it was just inexcusable by the Spurs. The Spurs' late season meltdowns have been inexplicable to me.
yeah. After the
Um,
All Star break, they've been terrible.
they've been absolutely terrible. After a surprising, like heartwarming, small markets matter. Da 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 da. All right, the Thunder lost 4 in a row. Okay, they lost by Phoenix to 37. They lost by Portland to 48. They lost by Detroit. Detroit. Let me say this again. Detroit to 24. And then most recently 11 to Charlotte. Let me double check fantasy basketball, but I said it yesterday. Here's how I'm going to cap this team. Oh, he's questionable. Lou Dort is questionable. What do I do, Tyler? If Lou Dort plays, I like OKC. He's like my ringer for this team. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I think if he plays, I'd take the 3.5 with the dog here. I still can't trust this Cleveland team, even after that thumping of the Spurs.
I
That
mean,
just feels like an anomaly to me.
I hate to just pump up the hardwood live in the final countdown all day, but talk about a game that we're not going to be able to play, right? Let's read out the questionables for OKC. Muscala's questionable, Poku's probable, Josh Hall questionable, Darius Bazel questionable, Lou Dort's questionable, Isaiah Roby questionable, Darius Miller questionable. I mean, I don't see how we make a move on this game without this knowledge. I mean, do
Yeah,
you want
I
us to move
agree.
on to the next one?
Yep.
I mean, I could guess over under, but I'm going to be honest with everybody. There's no way I'm betting this game until I have that knowledge. So I guess an if Lou Dort plays, are you with me? We'll take. Or do you even care? I mean, do we even want to bet it even if he does play?
I mean, I think it could be a nice spot for him. If he plays, I'd really like the under here because I think he takes one of them guards right out of the game.
Yeah, he does.
And then, I mean, that total's almost at 220. It's sitting at 218. That's a
All
lot
right.
of points for two bad teams.
Yeah. All right, guys. I hate to give you such a incomplete breakdown, but we got to be honest here. And with all that injury news, I don't think that we can accurately handicap this game and give out the winner. So guess what? Hope you're a member of Run Pure Bets, and I hope you're in the Discord because when this injury news gets announced, Tyler and I will let you guys know if we're pivoting, if we're going to jump in the game, or if we're just going to completely stay away. I tell you what, I don't think that there's anything wrong. I don't think there's any shame in just passing this game up altogether. But let's talk about a game that we're going to have to watch whether or not we bet it or not. And that's the Milwaukee Bucks, 32 and 18, 21 and 28 against the spread, heading to Dallas to take on the Mavericks, 28 and 22, 25 and 25 against the spread. Dallas had the ultimate letdown spot last night, right? They beat Utah in that great game. I think that was Monday night. And then they travel and they lose to the Houston Rockets. Unbelievable. I mean, it's one thing if you're the Clippers or even the Jazz, right? Dallas needs these wins. Dallas
Yep.
is fighting to stay out of that playing game. What are they doing blowing that game? I think I saw Luka was like 1 from 9 from three. Obviously didn't shoot well. It was obviously like, the let down off the huge win. Now they're taking on a Milwaukee team. I'm capping this game as Giannis is not playing. I see him doubtful right now.
I don't think any of the three guys play.
Who are the other two you're talking about?
Porzingis and Luca.
You think Luka's out too?
Right here, it shows questionable rest. Porzingis doubtful rest.
Okay, so Porzingis is out for sure.
Yeah, we know he's not playing.
If he shows up, it screws up my handicap. I'll deal with it. Okay. He doesn't play back to backs. He played 36 last night, right?
Yep.
And he played 36 in a loss. What a waste! What a waste! Really disappointed in Dallas last night. All right. So if Luka doesn't play, this is a smash spot for the Bucks, right?
I think so. Even if Giannis is out, if both
Yeah.
guys are out on the Dallas
Well,
side, give me
let's just
Milwaukee all
handicap this
day.
as Giannis is out. If Giannis ends up playing,
Even better.
yeah, I mean, yeah, I think this is a tough
And
game.
outside of Holiday and Middleton, like you have a lot of role players that can shoot a ton of threes for the Bucks. If they get hot, they will still light this team up.
Yeah. And you know what sucks is Dallas was doing so well before that Houston loss, right?
Yep.
Before that, they had the win over Utah that I mentioned earlier, a win in Washington, a win in New York. Knicks haven't been playing that well, but they won by 13 in New York. I love that win. The win over Boston. I don't care if Boston's not as good as we expected them to be this year. That's still a good win. And then they won in Oklahoma City. Not a big deal, but they won by 21 points. Right? They're not squeaking by these teams. They look great. Milwaukee was another team. Looked pretty good. They had won 3 in a row. They had beaten the shorthanded Lakers. Great win over Portland though. And then they barely beat the Kings, which to me was the letdown after the big win over Portland. Um, I like Milwaukee here. I'm getting plus 1.5 right now. That line is telling me that they expect Luka to play.
Yeah, I think maybe you see Luka, but I think Porzingis is out, and
All right, let's
that line
assume.
also probably shows that Giannis isn't playing.
Yeah. Giannis isn't playing. Let's just if he plays, he plays. So let's assume that Luka plays. Do you still like Milwaukee here?
I do. I mean, Holiday will be all over Luka.
Yeah.
You're gonna give me one of the best perimeter defenders. I mean, Luka may be one of the best offensive talents, but I still think Milwaukee would have more weapons at that point.
Yeah,
And
I
we've seen
agree.
Luka play bad in back to backs, but he did just play bad yesterday, so it could be a bounce back spot.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, if Dallas had won yesterday, wouldn't you be even more
I'd love Milwaukee right here if they
yeah, I'd
won.
love it here. It's like I almost like worried that that kind of kicked them into gear. But if you watched, okay, so that game yesterday felt like that Dallas was going to screw around and then come back and win, right? Because they
Yep.
were down most of the game. Then they come back. They cut it to was it 3 or 4? I flipped over. I said, okay, they're going to win this game. Let me watch the end. And then Houston just put it on. I mean, Porter was making defensive plays, not just on the offensive end. Really, really bad loss for Dallas there. So, all right. Well, I like Milwaukee there as well. The total's 226.5. What did you think of the total?
I probably lean under because
Okay.
I mean, with Giannis out, I mean they could still light him up from three,
Mm-hmm.
but I think Dallas will slow down the pace a bit. They've both been playing pretty slow,
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, I'd probably lean under.
Yeah, I would too. I think that also. I mean, this seems like it should be like a playoff atmosphere game, right? I mean, you think that both teams would really want this game,
Yeah,
you
but
know?
can't tell these days with the NBA.
I mean, it's funny you say these days because I've been watching for 30, 40 years. The idea that everybody traveled, everybody carried. I mean, they said that in the 80s. Oh, these guys all carry the ball. These guys all travel. Yeah, you guys have been saying that since I was born. Maybe in the 70s they didn't because I didn't watch then. Let's talk about another great game. I love this 7 o'clock. Well, for you, 10 o'clock slate. I think these evening games are just fantastic. I can't wait to sit down and watch some of these. The Phoenix Suns coming off a huge win last night. They are now 36 and 14, 33 and 17 against the spread. Don't look now. Phoenix is making a push for that number 1 seed. The Los Angeles Clippers, who I do not think care about seeding at all, are 34 and 18, 30 and 22 against the spread. I have a feeling though I'm going to get good effort from both teams here tonight. Obviously, we know Phoenix on a roll. Chris Paul doesn't let them take nights off. Um, my main concern for Phoenix is that was a hard fought overtime win, right? I mean,
Yep.
those minutes were a grind. Utah really put it on them. I love the way that they executed in the half court towards the end of the game. They kept isolating Booker on Mitchell, and Mitchell had no chance. I mean, it was just fantastic to watch. If you like the Suns, Clippers are coming off that big win over Portland, and before that they had beaten the Lakers. They're laying 6. So I'll tell you what, I really like Phoenix here to cover. My concern is the fatigue. What do you think?
I mean, judging by this injury report for the Clippers, and I see only Ibaka here, which means we're getting everybody on the other side.
Yeah, we're getting everybody.
I'll lay that 6.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
the fatigue's in it. I think the fatigue kicks in. I think you could see Phoenix just kind of maybe give this game up as
Hmm.
a way to say it because of the overtime win last night. They're closing in on the 1 seed, but with these empty arenas, how much does a home court advantage really mean? And if they're in the 2 seed, the only team that's going to get the home court advantage from in the long run will be the 1 seed. So I think you could see them take the night off here and the Clippers just blow them out. Save your energy.
Yeah. I don't think we're getting a night off from this team. They're too young. I mean, I could see the energy running out. I definitely think that they're going to come out and try to win. All right, so we're on opposite sides here, but I'll tell you what, because of the fatigue, I didn't bet the number. The total is
I'm looking to see
221.
how many minutes they played last night.
Oh, it's got to be a
Yeah,
ton.
I
You
mean
know,
Booker 44, Paul
yeah,
43, 8 and 41, Jay Crowder 38, Cam Johnson 37. If there's not
yeah.
fatigue tonight, I'll be surprised.
And my other concern is right. Booker's not going to eat Kawhi or Paul George the way he ate alive Donovan Mitchell, right? He's not going
Yeah,
to get those easy turnarounds, right?
like Paul
I
George
just
might not
think.
be the best defender anymore, but he's taller. He's got a longer wingspan. He can get his hand up better than Mitchell.
I mean,
So
where would you put him? I'd still think he's probably like what, a top 20 defender, wouldn't you?
yeah, somewhere in there.
I mean, he's still damn good, especially because you get certain players where you get nothing, like Booker, for example, right? I mean, he's just absolutely terrible defender.
Yep.
So yeah, all right. Let's move on to the next. Oh, 221 was the total. What was your thoughts on the total, and did you find any props you wanted to give out?
I'd probably lean under, and no props in that game yet.
You lean under, and why do we lean under here?
I just think the Clippers defense could just lock them up here, and the Clippers will just do enough to win here and just get past. They're not going to hang a buck 25 to 130 on them. Fatigue will kick in for Phoenix, but they're still going to play defense well for the majority of the game.
Yeah, yeah. All right, I think I kind of agree with you there on the under. But I'll tell you what, if you like the under, you like the points.
Yeah, I'm going the other way this time.
Yeah, I know. I'm just messing with you. No, unders are blowouts too. Detroit Pistons 15 and 36, 26 and 22 against the spread. Going on down or going to here, Sacramento. They're taking on the Kings 22 and 29, 22 and 28 against the spread. The Kings are on a terrible streak. They've lost how many in a row? Four in a row, most recently losing in Minnesota to the Timberwolves. Um, the team thought they had a chance for the playoffs. That's not the case. Now they're playing a Pistons team who, let's be honest, they're tanking. Their most recent was a 15-point loss in Denver, where they weren't able to cover. I kind of like them to cover here tonight. The plus 7.5 and the total's 225. I didn't really have any thoughts on the total. What do you think about this game? And do you agree with me that the Pistons are the right side?
I'm actually going to leave the sides alone in this game
Okay.
because I wouldn't be surprised if Sacramento blows out a tanking Detroit team or if Sacramento stumbles and Detroit covers. But that 225 is short for a Kings game. And surprisingly, the Pistons do play at a high pace over their last like 10 games.
Uh huh.
So, I mean, give me the over there all day, even with Grant out.
So why do you think the pace has improved? So the Kings average 114 points per game. Pistons average 107 per game. I don't have those till last 10 though. Why do you think the pace has increased for the Pistons recently?
I'm not even sure. I just think it's some of them younger guards just pushing the pace for them.
Yeah, I guess with Derrick Rose gone now, we have Saban Lee, who we've talked really glowingly about on this show. Not that we think he's like an all-star or anything, but that he's definitely a capable role player here. Um, who do we have out in this game? So Killian Hayes is going to be back. What do you think about that?
Yeah, he's all right. I think it'll take a couple years. He's nowhere near like a solid player yet.
Yeah, I honestly I haven't been impressed with what I saw from him. I thought he was going to be good watching those highlights. Um, when he came over, and of course, I mean, first of all, he's young, and it's his first games in the league, right? So don't hold me to this if he ends up being really good. But he didn't look athletic enough to me. I don't care how skilled you are. It just didn't seem like it's going to translate to the NBA with his lack of quickness. I mean, all those guys are just superb athletes and just trying to get by with average athleticism. I mean, your skills need to be so high. I personally didn't see that with them. So We'll see how it turns out, though, right? We don't want to write a guy off after 20 games in a new country. Talk about a tough transition, right?
Yeah.
Let's talk about the last game of the night. The Portland Trailblazers, 30 and 20, 25 and 24 against the spread, head into Utah to take on the Jazz coming off that overtime loss. Are you worried about fatigue in this same spot here?
I mean, to a point, I think so, but Portland doesn't play much defense. So I think Utah can just come out and light them up from three. And this game could get out of hand before fatigue even becomes a factor.
Wait, you think Portland's going to light them up?
No, I think Utah could light them up.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was going to think so too because gosh, let me pull it up. Can you pull up how they played against each other? Doesn't Utah usually just smash Portland?
Here, give me a minute.
Yeah, I'm trying to find when the last. Sorry, guys, I had to go. I didn't have all my prep work done today. My mom's cat got stuck in the attic, so I had to run over there real quick while I was putting together all the information for the show today. The last one I see was on 12/23, and they lost by 20. Have they only played once this year?
Yeah, I'm still pulling it up. Give me a minute.
Yeah, and I mean 12/20. That's like the opening game of the season, right?
Yeah, that was right around when the season started.
Okay, so they played once, and Utah won by 20. I'm gonna go ahead and throw that result out. Do you really think that matters that much?
No, I mean that was so long ago.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of like taking the points here, except for I just don't like the way this Portland team matches up with Utah, right? So the model will tell you to take the points, right? But let's look at, I mean, just look at the way they match up. Portland's a smaller team with smaller guards. They don't have the bigger wing forwards that are going to. The way to attack Utah, I think, is through forwards, right? I mean, that's their weakness is on the wings, right? You want to attack Bogdanovich. You want to attack Ingles, right? Niang, Derek Favors, right? You don't want to go at Conley. You don't want to go at Mitchell, even though, I mean, he's not the best, but he's still pretty good. And you definitely don't want to go after Rudy. So, do you think Portland has the horses to go ahead and get this done here, or you already answered that? 232
I
is
mean,
the total.
they definitely have the guys, I think, to win this game, but I think they just have to shoot lights out.
Yeah.
Which is definitely doable. We've seen teams come out and just shoot the lights right out of the gym.
Yeah. Landa's talking about Nurkic being back, though, gives them some better interior defense. Definitely agree with that. What do you think of that addition there for Portland? I mean,
It definitely helps on the defensive end. Is he still on a minutes restriction? I've seen he was only playing like 20 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I have for him here. So for this game, I have Powell probable, Nurkic questionable, Conley doubtful, and Elijah Hughes and Jawan Morgan, who I've never capped. And I don't even hear him talking about on the DFS show. So I don't think that they're worth much because they're not even playing them ever at 3K. I think he's got a great point though with the interior defense being better. The question is Utah, is that going to affect Utah that much? Utah likes to go outside, right?
Yeah, they shoot one of the most threes as a team in the league. I think over their last 10, they're top 5. They might even be first.
All right, our guy Landis being so helpful. Thank you, buddy. 17, 20, and 21 in the last 3 games, still on restrictions, so 25 minutes tops. But there could be some of those key minutes that we talked about earlier. But you like Utah to cover here. The total's 232, highest on the board. What do you think of the total?
Give me the over. Give me a team that shoots the most threes in the league and then a team that plays in the defense. They're going to have to shoot just as many threes to keep up. Mm-hmm. Give me the over.
I mean, I don't hate that. I don't hate that at all. So you like the over 232. All right, Tyler. We are quick and efficient. We've gone through all the games. Is there anything that I missed that you wanted to hit on before we jump into best bets?
Nope, we can get to Gregory Russo's best part.
Gregory Russo loves this part. So if you're like Gregory Russo and you love the best bets, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and away we go. Tyler, side total prop. What is your best
I'm going to let you go first so I don't steal your pick. I want to see what you go with first. So what do you got?
I like the Bucks. And I like the Pistons, but I think I like the Bucks more. I'm going to make my best bet the Milwaukee Bucks.
See, that's why I let you go first, because I didn't want to steal them.
Were you going to take the Bucks?
Yeah.
Well, you have that prop. How is that prop not the best bet?
Well, I'm going to give out a side Or actually,
Because
I'm gonna
who
give out
was
a
it?
total just for Gregory Russo because he doesn't
Who?
like when I give out props.
Yeah, it was. Oh, Lakers just went off the board. Do you have any news on why they went off the board, Tyler?
I'm not seeing anything.
All right, cool. All right, well, all right, West Coast Gem is in there. What's up, West Coast out there? I know what you're doing, getting all those packages delivered in the beautiful California sunshine. All right, so we already know the prop. Well, let's say it again if someone missed it at the beginning of the show. What's the prop that you like?
Nikolai Vucevic over 11.5 rebounds.
Okay, Vukovic over rebounds.
And then I'm going to go with as my best bet, the over in the Detroit Sacramento game at 225.5.
So Tyler, I put that bet in for Milwaukee, and it went right off the board.
Yeah, their Fantasy Labs is releasing a lot of news right now. Trey Burke probable, Kleber probable. Okay. Which means the Luka and Porzingis news is coming right behind this.
All right, I'm putting that Vukovic in right now, and I'm sorry because that news threw me off. What was the second best bet?
Oh, Detroit and Sacramento over 225.
I cannot hate on the Kings over. I can't hate on the Kings over at all. I love it. I love it. What do you want us to wait for? Gregory Russo's asking us to wait. Usually he wants the best bets right away. Now we got to wait. Greg, what's going on here? All right, Tyler. Well, we will be back tomorrow with AP. Should be a lot of fun. We were going to talk before the show. Not sure if we'll be there on Saturday. We'll let you know for sure. Just to give you guys a heads up, the UFC is starting at
like 10 a.m. because it's on ABC.
Yeah. It actually starts at 9 a.m. my time. And it just so happens that here at Run Pure Bets, we have the absolute best UFC capper and the absolute best live better. His name is Jason, the Sports Keg CEO. And so, because we don't want to step into his skills, right, his wheelhouse, we might not have a show on Saturday because on the Run Pure Bets YouTube channel, Keg Live will be in effect. He's crushing all these sports. And I'll tell you what, if you're a member and you're like me and you're busy on Saturday, you don't even need to always watch the show. He'll put the plays in the Discord. So if you're a member, you get the notifications. Hey, I'm out running errands. I'm at the grocery store. Oh, hey, hit this guy plus 1,200. Cool. Go right back up to picking up my steaks and my pork, which were on sale today. That was nice. But anyways, we will let you guys know tomorrow for sure. But we will be back tomorrow for sure with AP. So we'll be, a little more dose of DFS and the usual great capping. I think we got a great card tomorrow, and then Saturday. Honestly, I'm not too worried about it. Did you look? The
No,
games
not
are
yet.
terrible. They had set it up so Brooklyn LA would be the huge matchup, but obviously with both players missing from LA, I mean, if you were to set that line right now, it's going to be like a -10, right?
Yeah, it's going to be definitely double-digit spread.
Yeah. So I mean, I've been looking at it all week. I don't necessarily like the Saturday card that much. So, but we're gonna make a decision right after this. What's my best bet other than Milwaukee? Oh my gosh. See, I like the points in all the evening games. Yeah, this line came up at +2.5 for the Bucks. Interesting. All right. Best bet other than Milwaukee, I would say give me this Phoenix Suns +6. Phoenix Suns +6. Gregory Russo. All right, guys. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out. Of course, runpurebets.com is where you need to be. Promo code BETS25 off gives you a discount for the first month. And once you're there, you will be making enough to cover the subscription, assuming you bet more than $5 per game. If you only bet $5 a game, just hang out with us, watch the show. We'll give you information, build the bankroll up so eventually you can afford it. Tyler, thank you for hanging out. You got anything else before we get out of here?
Nope. We just got to find them winners for tonight.
Yeah, and I think we did a great job kind of working through a murky card. Of course, guys, remember to head over to RunPureSports.com, watch NBA Hardwood Live, going live at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern. And then, of course, if you're a member, you can hang out on the final countdown and Hayes Holden. Thank you guys very much for watching. We'll be back tomorrow and run